before I start, I'd just like to say that if I cough or anything, I'm just don't worry, I'm okay. So, my name is Bhavish Vasnani, and I want to be the next treasurer of this college. Let me just start by congratulating Connor on his term as treasurer. I think he's done a great job, and this year he's made major contributions to the SJCR. I remember months ago when I came to John's as a fresher, I talked to Connor about his role on the exec. He then suggested that I run for FICOM. So I ran for FICOM, and now here I am running for treasurer. I think a treasurer should be someone who understands the magnitude of responsibility that comes with being a trustee of a charity. A treasurer should be hardworking, diligent, and dedicated in order to maintain the financial stability of this college. And most importantly, they should be able to prioritize the role because of how demanding it is. I will fit the role of treasurer well because of my past experiences. I have been managing my school's money and creating budgets for them ever since I was in the 10th grade. Doing so has given me great experiences in preparing budgets and plans. I currently work with St. Margaret's Center, a local charity here in Durham, and occasionally advise them on their budgets. My role at the charity involves regular communication with the charity's manager, who is also on the charity's trustee board. This role has taught me more about the responsibilities of a trustee firsthand. I have also other practical experience. For example, I used to manage all the finances for my own company back in Warsaw. This included general bookkeeping using accounting software, which is something a treasurer should be very adept at. Most importantly, being on FICOM this year has been extremely insightful for me. I've participated in important discussions of whether a motion of spending put forth by someone is a feasible investment for the entire college or not. All these experiences mean that I have the appropriate foundational knowledge to take on the role of treasurer. Being a treasurer will mean that I will be on the trustee board. Recently, I attended a trustee training event hosted by one of the current trustees of John's. Along with a lot of very helpful advice, he pointed out one crucial thing. When a trustee, you have to take actions which will benefit all members of the SJCR and keep the well-being of every single person in this college in mind. This is something I will always keep in the back of my mind whenever I have to make any tough decisions. I aim to help societies here at John's, provided that their demands are justified and reasonable. I'll also be very open and approachable through my time as treasurer. I'm a nice guy. If there are any other concerns anyone has, just let me know and I'll prioritize a meeting between the two of us and we'll talk it out. According to the SJCR Constitution, the workload of treasurer is 10 plus hours a week. I plan to drop out of some of my extracurriculars activities next year, so I can solely focus on being the best treasurer I can be for this college. The aim of this college as a charity is not to make money. It's to spend any surplus earned on its members and avoid deficits. If I'm elected, that is exactly what I'll strive for. Also, as it mentions in my manifesto, I'll be very vocal against any price hikes. Members of this college have not and will not have to pay to play sports. However, this is a tough objective to achieve because university has been increasing fees for some sports. But I'll make sure it's all budgeted for. So the new intake of freshers and yourselves will not have to pay anything additional. I'll also be creating an online feedback survey similar to Joe's near the beginning of each term, which will let you voice your opinion on where we should focus spending. The aim of this survey will be to let me know if there are any future improvements I should be aiming for. To close, vote for me if you want John's to maintain its free sports societies and financial stability throughout the next year. I would be honored to be the treasurer of this wonderful and welcoming college. Thank you.
You mentioned it slightly, but as treasurer, you'll be a trustee of the JCR. Can you explain what specifically the role of trustee does on the SJCR trustee board?
Right, so trustees generally, according to the Charity Commission website, they basically decide how a charity should be run. Specifically, coming back to the SJCR, they would be discussing any major actions that are going to be occurring in college. And most importantly, a charity trustee board, of the SJCR would be basically the governing body of the whole SJCR. They would see how we're doing what we're doing and whether it's the correct way to do something. It's also very important to have a trustee board because they can also check whether we're allocating our resources appropriately and responsibly. So that, I think, are the main and key roles of the charity trustee board. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Andrew.
So, as well as the SJCR treasurer, there's also a middle common room and a Cranmer common room treasurer. The subsidiary common rooms have autonomy over their finances, but are answerable to you as SJCR treasurer. What would your tact with them be? Would you let the treasurers do their own things, or would you be a bit more controlling?
Well, I think this comes back to my idea of management in a way, and what I feel that should be happening is, because I personally am not completely involved with Cranmer, because there's been, I hate to say it, but we don't really get to see that many people from Cranmer. Unfortunately, that's because of the extreme amount of hours they have to work. But I will be regularly meeting up with both those treasurers, that's the MCR treasurers and the CCR treasurers, and discussing what they're doing. I'll never ever tell them to just do what I say, because that's controlling. I'll never micromanage them. I won't be asking them for updates on every single action they take, but I will want to know what's going on generally, because that is that comes under my purview. So I will give them autonomy, as you said, but again, I will be responsible for them, so I will be doing regular meetings. I hope that answers your question.
Any other questions? Kasana?
You and I have both served on FICOM, and we have seen how Connor has worked brilliantly and how we work together with them. Firstly, I wanted to know, how would you describe the relationship between the treasurer and the finance committee?
Okay, to answer your first question, I'm good, thank you. Second, how would I describe the treasurers? The treasurers, basically the role, or more like the connection that the treasurer and FICOM have, right?
Yeah.
So first of all, just to make it clear, FICOM is an independent body. So whatever they make a decision on, the treasurer can't just tell them not to. So I will encourage independence. I will encourage open discussion. And obviously there have been, in the Constitution it states that there should be 6 clear days before, a meeting should be held 6 clear days before an MFS is introduced. And even though the treasurer is not personally responsible for organizing meetings, I'll be sure that meetings occur at least 6 to 7 days before, so there's no rush before an SJCR meeting. And I think that will be it. And also I'll be very involved with obviously every member of that committee, just to be in communication with them.
Anyone?
So can I just clarify on that point? The Constitution says that it must be within 6 days, so I'm not sure how you're going to schedule one before 6 days with FICOM. But yeah, do you think, would you allow the chair of FICOM to be scheduling these meetings, and would you have better coordination between treasurer and the chair of FICOM to ensure that they're scheduled with enough time for the members to arrive and for enough time to get the MFSs in?
That's the entirety? Okay, great question. First of all, yes, and yes, that's very important that we have enough time to get everything done. It's important to have an open discussion before a thing goes up to vote. We don't want to cause a situation of panic where the committee is just very distraught and then you have a conflict going on, a crisis. We don't want that. So I'll obviously be encouraging the chair to organize the meetings well before, and I will give the chair the independence to organize meetings himself, and I'll also be very transparent about any MFSs put through me, or if anyone, as I said in my Hust, if anyone wants anything done in a society, come meet me. I'll walk you through how to put an MFS in. And then I will let the chair know that potentially an MFS is coming. So I'll basically be best friends with the chair of FICOM next year. So,
Questions? There's one over here.
So you mentioned the idea of having like a survey for members of the SJCR of where they want to see their funds allocated. But as we've already discussed, in general, just turnout for a lot of things in colleges, especially with the SJCR, is quite low. So how would you ensure that you don't have like a very sort of vocal minority dictating how their funds are spent? So for example, if you have a lot of people very interested in sport or very interested in drama, and people who aren't interested in either of those two things, how do you prevent sort of those two groups, for example, in dictating how the money across college is spent in general?
okay, first of all, I just want to say that's a phenomenal question and a great observation to say that a small group can dominate the surveys. And I have thought about this. So first of all, referring back to this Hust we have for communications. So first of all, my aim would be that everyone knows these surveys are out there, which is just a preparatory thing that should be done. Second of all, I'll also check the statistics in detail, like what is the turnout like? Is it concentrated on one thing? Because if there's an overwhelming majority demanding that thing, let's say there were like 60 votes and like 55 said sports, then it's pretty clear that was just dominated by that. And plus, in my Hust, I mentioned that this is potential future improvement. So if I see through someone just trying to manipulate the survey, that's not going to happen. I'll probably just have a conversation with the sports and societies officer, for example, in that way. So I will be doing a statistical analysis of whatever's put through. I hope that answers your question.
One more question, if you want. So throughout the year, financially, we have fluctuations in cash flow through the SJCR. What do you think is the most vulnerable time for us financially?
Okay, I have had a conversation about this with 3 different people, including yourself. I think the greatest financial risk the SJCR takes is the Bailey Ball. Around the time of Bailey Ball, because first of all, we have to have a very tight budget for it. The money's coming in later. Like it's delayed. Payments are delayed sometimes, and it's just a lot of financial exposure that we have to tighten. And as it says in my manifesto, I'll be working very closely with the SEC treasurer next year to ensure that Bailey Ball is less of a risk, because in finance, which I study, they teach us that risk is the biggest exposure and the biggest downfall of anything. So I will be making sure that the cash flows are more stable next year.
Thank you very much. Thanks.